afternoon. It's Sunday, September 28th. I'm Yumna Naufal. These are today's headlines. Future Bloc MP Jamal Jarrah announced that the rebel Free Syrian Army has managed to save the captive Lebanese troops from a massacre at the hands of their jihadist kidnappers. British Prime Minister David Cameron says that a military campaign against the Islamic State is part of a comprehensive strategy in the battle against the militants. And new U.S.-led airstrikes against the Islamic State fighters failed to stop them from pressing their assault on a strategic Syrian town near the Turkish border. Future Bloc MP Jamal Jarrah announced that the rebel Free Syrian Army has managed to save the captive Lebanese troops from a massacre at the hands of their jihadist kidnappers. He was referring to army raids on Syrian refugee encampments in the Bekaa border town of Arsel, in which a suspect was killed and scores of Syrians and Lebanese, including 4 gunmen belonging to Al-Nusra Front, were arrested. The crackdown, sparked by an angry protest by Syrian refugees, prompted Al-Nusra to accuse the army of persecuting Syrians in Lebanon. Arsel has been the battlefront of the Lebanese army in its fight with jihadists since they crossed the border from Syria and overran the town in early August. The militants from Al-Nusra Front and the Islamic State kidnapped around 35 troops during their withdrawal. Kidnapping and executions have caused deep anger and anxiety in Lebanon and led to a backlash against Syrian refugees in some places. Turkey and Qatar must join efforts to secure the release of the Lebanese captives kidnapped by ISIS and Nusra. These are the words of Prime Minister Tamam Salam, saying he would support a negotiated deal. According to an article published by Al Hayat, Salam said he would support negotiating a deal with the militants to find a solution to the hostage crisis, but called for keeping the matter away from competition and political bidding. The Prime Minister disclosed that he had asked Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan to maximize his efforts regarding the hostage crisis and received Erdogan's assurances that he would do so. Head of the Future Movement, MP Saad Hariri, is criticizing the Syrian National Coalition's complaint to the United Nations Security Council over the Lebanese army's treatment of Syrian refugees in the northeastern region of Arsel, deeming it as a misstep and saying that it disregards the ties between the Lebanese and Syrian people. He said in a statement, the Syrian National Coalition has the right to defend the refugees' humanitarian rights, but the interest of the refugees' Syrian revolt also requires them to raise their voice and demand the release of the Lebanese soldiers and policemen abducted by Islamists back in August. The former premier acknowledged that Syrian refugees are suffering from oppression and displacement, adding that the Lebanese people have not wavered in supporting the Syrian revolution. It pains them to see that some sides among the revolutionaries have chosen the path of terrorism in order to harm Lebanese-Syrian ties, according to Hariri. Air France pilots have decided to end the 2-week strike that crippled the French airline. Air France had been locked up in a dispute with pilots over plans to create a low-cost operation, triggering a walkout that has cost it up to 20 million euros. That's $25 million per day. I can confirm the NSNPL Airlines Main has decided to put an end to the strike. Julien Deboz, the spokesman for the sister Air France pilot union, said. New U.S.-led airstrikes against the Islamic State fighters have failed to stop them from pressing their assault on a strategic Syrian town near the Turkish border, hitting it with shell fire for the first time. The U.S. Central Command said that airstrike destroyed an IS building and 2 armed vehicles near the border town of Kobani, which the insurgents have been besieging for the past 10 days. It said an airfield, garrison, and training camp near the IS stronghold of Raqqa were also among the targets damaged in 7 airstrikes conducted by the United States, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates using fighter planes and remotely piloted aircraft. 3 airstrikes in Iraq destroyed 4 IS armed vehicles and a fighting position southwest of Erbil. This is according to CENTCOM. The 2 British fighter jets also flew over Iraq a day after the UK Parliament authorized the bombing raids against IS militants there. British Prime Minister David Cameron said that a military campaign against Islamic State fighters is part of a comprehensive strategy in the battle against the militants. Britain's Parliament approved the airstrikes against IS insurgents in Iraq, which paved the way for the Royal Air Force to join U.S.-led military action.
ISIL are not like an army. They don't have barracks, they don't have columns of tanks you can hit from the air. They sit inside the population. They hide themselves where civilians are quite deliberately, and that therefore an air campaign is bound to kill lots of civilians by accident without necessarily degrading ISIL as much as you hope.
There are occasions, indeed there have been occasions, when ISIL are out in the open threatening Christian communities, Yazidi communities, other Muslim communities, and they can be struck and stopped. And that's exactly what's happened, you know, close to where the Kurdish lines are and elsewhere. But if what you're saying is we need, if you like, an uprising of the Sunni tribes rejecting these extremists and saying we want to be part of a democratic, pluralistic Iraq, yes, of course, we do need that. And that's why, you know, our strategy here is not some simplistic, you know, drop a bomb from 40,000 feet and think you can solve the problem. It isn't. This is one part of a comprehensive strategy to build an Iraq that has a democratic, inclusive government for everyone. And in time, Syria needs exactly the same thing.
Coming up next, United Arab Emirates' first female pilot to fly an F-16 fighter jet said it was a dream come true in the fight against ISIS. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the 4:20 o'clock news on Future TV. Major Miriam Al-Mansouri is the United Arab Emirates' first female pilot to fly an F-16 fighter jet. The 35-year-old English literature major went on to join the Khalifa bin Zayed Air College in Al Ain, where she graduated in 2008. Mansouri recently became an international celebrity when she was reported to lead airstrikes against Islamic State targets in Iraq, part of the U.S.-led campaign against the militant Sunni group, Al-Qaeda's affiliate in Syria, who have lost scores of fighters in the strikes. The young pilot seemed unfazed by threats as she recently sat inside an F-16 cockpit and prepared for the takeoff. In the beginning, she said, "I wasn't expecting this, but with thanks to God, I have managed to reach a dream with the support of authorities, trainers, and with encouragement from my colleagues. I have managed to reach this level." The UAE's ambassador to the United States confirmed last week Mansouri had led the UAE strikes against ISIS. North Korea's foreign minister berated the UN Security Council as a form of lies and double standards in the first UN address by a top Pyongyang official in 15 years. Foreign Minister Ri Soo-young called for reforming the UN Security Council, which has imposed tough sanctions on North Korea over its suspected nuclear program and missile launches. The foreign minister accused the top body of turning a blind eye to civilian deaths in Gaza from Israeli attacks while punishing Syria over the conflict on its territory. He said the top body was showcasing the extreme manifestation of the double standard and said no action should be taken against Syria under the disguise of counter-terrorism in reference to the U.S.-led airstrikes against jihadists. The foreign minister assailed the United States over joint exercises that it held with South Korea in August and recounted that the 15-member council refused to consider Pyongyang's request to suspend the war exercises. A Sudanese woman who was sentenced to death for converting to Christianity and marrying an American Christian man was honored by a religious group. The Family Research Council awarded Miriam Ibrahim its Cost of Discipleship Award at a dinner in Washington, D.C. Ibrahim married American citizen Danielle Wani, and the couple had a son together, but it wasn't until she was pregnant with their second child that she was arrested earlier this year and charged with adultery and apostasy. In May, a court sentenced her to death. However, international pressure prompted Sudanese authorities to allow Ibrahim to immigrate to America with her husband and children. At the dinner, she said the crowd she had done nothing wrong, and then had a message for Nagmeh Abedini, an Iranian woman whose Christian husband has been jailed in Iran since 2012. Earlier in the program, Nagmeh Abedini spoke about her fight to get her husband, Saeed Abedini, released from prison in Iran. Guardians of the Galaxy made a huge splash this summer, scoring the biggest office hit of the summer and one of the top ones of the year. Chris Pratt, who plays the leading character in the movie, is married to Anna Faris. Well, she was a guest on The Ellen Show and prank called Chris. They both left a voicemail with Anna frantically pretending to be getting arrested as Ellen barked orders as the cop arresting her.
So here's what we're going to do, and y'all try to stay quiet so that it really sounds like she's calling from a police station or from whatever. So we're going to try to call him. We'll see if he's rehearsing. He may be at SNL. He may be at the Derek Jeter last baseball game, which he will not hear any of this if he's at the baseball game.
Which hopefully he'll just hear arrested.
Right.
And then he'll...
So we'll leave a message if it goes to voicemail, just so he gets voicemail that you've been arrested.
Okay. But I think I'm going to be in my car getting arrested. I think that's my...
Oh, you're in the car.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Okay.
I'll be playing the part of the cop.
Okay. I don't need to put it on speaker, right?
No, it's...
Oh, someone is calling me at the same time.
Answer it. See who it is.
No way, that's
Yeah,
too scary.
what?
It's a number I don't know. Oh my God. Oh
Hello?
boy.
Hi, is this Anna Ferris?
No, who's this?
My name's Haley Wright calling on behalf of Southern California Public Radio. Is Anna available?
No, she's not. She's going to call you back, okay?
Okay, I can
All right.
actually...
I support my public radio station.
You can't interrupt
That is
this bit.
really
No.
funny.
Why is a public radio station calling you? Why do they have your number?
I don't know. I'm glad you answered though.
Okay.
Uh-oh. He likes Derek more than me. Okay, let's move. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
You have reached the voicemail box of 31.
Oh.
We'll come back up.
Hey, honey, I don't know if you're at the game right now. If you are, I hope Derek's doing really well, but I just want to tell you that, I think I'm getting arrested.
Ma'am, let's go.
I know.
Out of the car.
No, just give me 2 seconds.
Ma'am.
I know, I'm coming.
Put your clothes on and get out.
Baby, I just was on my way, you know.
Put your pants on and get out of the car.
I had to do this change in the car, and this cop pulled me over.
Someone grab that rooster.
I can't. Look.
There's 4.
You. You guys are sweet. Okay, poor husband.
He is going to go, what?
He is going to be like, baby.
This marks the end of our bulletin for today. Now for a reminder of our top stories. Future Black MP Jamal Jarrah announced that the rebel Free Syrian Army has managed to save the captive Lebanese troops from a massacre at the hands of their jihadist kidnappers. British Prime Minister David Cameron says that a military campaign against ISIS is part of a comprehensive strategy in the battle against the Islamists. New U.S.-led airstrikes against ISIS fighters failed to stop them from pressing their assault on a strategic Syrian town near the Turkish border. This wraps up your week headlines here live on Future Television. Have a good week ahead. Yumna Nalfa signing off.